A month had passed since Spencer left Soto after being stuck in the snow. It was the last day of work before Christmas. Everyone was looking forward to a day off. Edward was at the docks. "One more train back to Wellswood, and I'll be done for Christmas," he said.
"We just delivered our last load,"
said Bill and Ben in unison.
"And I finally get a day or two off,"
said Cranky.
"Even I can be cheerful when it's this time of year."
"Aye," said Salty.
"That reminds me of a story, and I'll take back what I just said,"
said Cranky, who never liked Salty stories.
"Just one?"
asked Bill and Ben.
"Very well, since it's Christmas," said Cranky.
Toby was at the quarry. "Well," he said to Mavis, "my work is done. Thomas and Percy are staying at Timothy's Sheds. I've been given permission to stay up here with you." "Thank you," said Mavis. "I'll enjoy having company over Christmas." Percy was at the harbor, delivering the last of his mail and cheerfully greeting everyone he met, and everyone cheerfully greeted him back. "Happy Christmas, Harold." "Happy Christmas, Percy." "Happy Christmas, Farmer McColl, Terrence."
"Happy Christmas, Percy, and a Happy New Year."
"Happy Christmas, Bertie, and God bless us, everyone." At last, Percy reached Timothy's Sheds. The other engines were already there. "I just got back from pulling the express," said Gordon. "Well, now we can have a good long rest for Christmas," said Henry. "We've certainly had a lot of snow this year, haven't we?" asked James. "There seems to always be snow at Christmas," said Emily. "Not always," said Thomas. "I remember one year where there wasn't any snow. There was plenty of rain, though. A near disaster," he added with a shudder. "Thinking of Christmas of '51? asked Edward. "Indeed," replied Thomas. "That was long before I came," said Emily. "Could you tell me what happened, please?" "Certainly," replied Thomas. "It would be a good way to celebrate your first Christmas at Timothy's Sheds." And this is what Thomas told. It was nearly Christmas. Annie and Clerval were packed full of people and parcels. Thomas was having very hard work. Come on, he puffed. "We're feeling so full," grumbled the coaches. Thomas looked at the hill ahead. Can I do it? He puffed anxiously. Suddenly he saw a handkerchief waving from a cottage window. He felt better at once. Yes, I can, he puffed bravely. He pulled his hardest and was soon through the tunnel and resting in the station. "That was Mrs. Kyndley who waved to you, Thomas," his driver told him. "She has to stay in bed all day." "Poor lady," said Thomas. "I am sorry for her." Engines have heavy loads at Christmas time. But Thomas and Toby didn't mind the hard work when they saw Mrs. Kyndley waving. But then it began to rain. It rained for days and days. Thomas didn't like it, nor did his driver. "Off we go, Thomas," he would say. "Pull hard and get home quickly. Mrs. Kyndley won't wave today." But whether she waved or not, they always whistled when they passed the lonely little cottage. Its walls stood out against the dark background of the hills. "Hello!" exclaimed Thomas's fireman one day. "Look at that!" Hanging, flapping, and bedraggled from a window of the cottage was something that looked like a large red flag. "Mrs. Kyndley needs help, I expect," said the driver, and put on the brakes. Thomas gently stopped. The guard came squelching through the rain up to Thomas's cab, and the driver pointed to the flag. "See if the doctor's on the train, and ask him to go to the cottage. Then walk back to the station and tell them we've stopped." The fireman went to see if the line was clear in front. 2 passengers left the train and climbed to the cottage. Then the fireman returned. "We'll back down to the station," said the driver, "so that Thomas can get a good start." "We shan't get up the hill," the fireman answered. "Come see what's happened." They walked along the line round the bend. "Jiminy Christmas!" exclaimed the driver. "Go back to the train. I'm going to the cottage." He found the doctor with Mrs. Kyndley. "Silly of me to faint," she said. "You saw my dressing gown? You all safe?" asked Mrs. Kyndley. "Yes," smiled the driver. "I've come to thank you. There was a landslide in the cutting, doctor, and Mrs. Kyndley saw it from her window and stopped us. She saved our lives." "God bless you, ma'am," said the driver, and tiptoed from the room. They cleared the line by Christmas Day, and the sun shone as a special train puffed up from the junction. First came Toby, then Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, and last of all, but very pleased at being allowed to come, was Henrietta. Sir Topham Hatt was there, and lots of other people who wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Kyndley. "Beep, beep, 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 beep. Happy Christmas!" whistled the engines as they reached the place. The people got out and climbed to the cottage. Thomas and Toby wished they could go, too. Mrs. Kyndley's husband met them at the door. Sir Topham Hatt, Thomas's driver, fireman, and guard went upstairs, while the others stood in the sunshine below the window. The driver gave her a new dressing gown to replace the one spoilt by the rain. The guard brought her some grapes, and the fireman gave her some woolly slippers and promised to bring some coal as a present from Thomas next time they passed. Mrs. Kyndley was very pleased with her presents. "You are very good to me," she said.
"The passengers and I," said Sir Topham Hatt, "hope you'll accept these tickets for the South Coast, Mrs. Kyndley, and get really well in the sunshine. We cannot thank you enough for preventing that accident. I hope we have not tired you. Goodbye and a happy Christmas."
Then, going quietly downstairs, they joined the group outside the window and sang some carols before returning to the train. Mrs. Kyndley stayed at Bournemouth, getting better every day, and Toby and I were pleased when we could welcome her home, which we were able to by next Christmas, finished Thomas. "There certainly was snow then," remarked Percy. "There certainly was," replied Thomas. "Could you tell me about that year, too?" asked Emily. "Why not?" said Thomas. And all the engines told Emily about the following Christmas, which I'm sure you know all about.